The graphite core functioned as a moderator, slowing neutron emission from the uranium to a manageable level. Control rods, made of boron steel, could be inserted from the top of the stack to absorb neutrons, slowing the reactor or shutting it down altogether. Lastly, the reactor was cooled by two auxiliary fans that would blow cool air through the piles and out via a 400-foot chimney. At the top of the chimney were filters, designed to prevent the emission of radioactive particulates into the environment. These were a controversial feature. John Cockcroft, Britain's chief nuclear scientist, had insisted on the costly installation of the filters as a safety measure. His critics argued they were unnecessary, christening them Cockcroft's follies. Crucially, the chimneys were designed only to ventilate air. At no point would smoke or steam be emitted, except, of course, on the morning of October 10, 1957. The smoke Harris had observed was the direct result of a fatal flaw within the reactor's design, a flaw that would trigger the impending accident. Unbeknownst to Windscale's engineers at the time of construction, the reactor was affected by a phenomenon known as Wigner energy. When bombarded by neutrons, the atomic structure of graphite can become dislocated, creating a buildup of potential energy called Wigner energy that is liable to be released in a sudden and unpredictable burst of heat. At Windscale, the large graphite core could build up massive amounts of Wigner energy that threatened to destabilize the reactor. To combat this, operators routinely carried out a controlled heating of the reactor core, providing enough vibrational energy to restructure the graphite atoms, thereby triggering the release of latent Wigner energy in the form of heat. This procedure, referred to as annealing, had been used on 8 separate occasions in the plant's history. Each time it had been carried out successfully. At 11:45 a.m. on October 7, 1957, another routine release of Wigner energy was planned in Unit 1. The operators began the annealing process, removing control rods and heating the reactor up to 250 degrees centigrade. By the morning of October 8th, it was clear that the procedure had not worked as intended. The temperature inside the reactor was supposed to rise steadily. Instead, it was starting to cool, a sign that the latent Wigner energy inside was not being released. Operators attempted to repeat the process, restarting the reactor and heating the pile up to 330 degrees. By the following day, this restart appeared to have worked, but now the reactor was heating too quickly, with one specific channel, channel 2053, jumping up to 380 degrees. Operators battled with the reactor, moving control rods in and out in an effort to manage the heat, a process that was likened to trying to steer the Titanic around an iceberg. By 10 p.m. on October the 9th, channel 2053 had reached 412 degrees centigrade. Eventually, the heat sensors melted away entirely. With no way of monitoring the temperature of the reactor, the operators decided to peer within the pile through an inspection hatch. The interior of the reactor, normally the dull grey colour of graphite, had turned a glow